All right, so now we're going to be learning about their goals. So you've still kind of in the beginning of the conversation or in the class, and this is really one of the most important parts of the appointment or the class. And the reasons why this is so important is that it really does show that you care. And giving you an example of this is recently we went to go buy a new car. So we have 6 children. We need a vehicle that fits 8. We have one, but the cargo space in the back isn't very big. And so we wanted to go and see if we could find another vehicle that had more cargo room in the back. And so that was specifically what we were going around these dealerships, is just taking a look, because you can't really see very well on the pictures how much cargo room, and we just wanted to take a look at the cars. So we went to the first dealership, and we explained to him that we needed a vehicle for 8, and we're looking for something with a little bit more cargo room than the vehicle that we had. And so he showed us the car that we wanted to look at. We got in there and we looked around, and it seemed pretty similar to the one that we had, but there wasn't a lot more cargo room. And then the salesman continued to tell us about all these different features and benefits that come with this car, and bells and whistles and things that we didn't really care about. We just were really concerned about that cargo room. And he really wasn't listening to us. And in the end, before we left, he specifically said, he's like, "Oh man, I really wanted to sell you a car today." And in my head, I'm thinking, I don't really care what you want. This was about us and finding a car with more cargo room. And he wasn't listening to us. He didn't care. It was all about him. And so when we're talking about their goals, this is an opportunity to be focusing on them and what they care about and what's important to them. And as you learn those things about them, then you're able to customize the things that you're talking about, the products that doTERRA offers that can help them. And we went to another dealership to look at another car, and it was a completely different experience. We went in there, told him what we were looking for. He showed us the car we wanted to look at, and the cargo room wasn't anymore. And so he specifically was like, "Yeah, I don't have anything that would fit your needs, but you might want to go look at this vehicle." And he was really helpful. He knew that he didn't have something that would benefit us, but he was listening, and it wasn't about him, and it was about us. So the same thing goes here. As you are asking these questions and finding out about them, you'll be able to better help them solve their problems and see how the essential oils or different products can benefit them and help them with their needs. And so as far as the script with this, I will just kind of walk through it and explain how you will do this. And so the transition is, what things do you want to make sure we go over today? So we've gone through kind of the intro and the agenda, and then you're asking, what things do you want to make sure that we go over today? And they may have specific things that have been on their mind, things that they've thought about, things that they've heard about. You can just go ahead and write those down as they tell you. There might be somebody like, "I don't know, you just asked me to listen and get some practice, and so I'm not even sure what essential oils do." And so that's fine, whatever the answer is. And so if they tell you things that they want to go over, you'll say, "Great, I'll make sure that we go over all those things." What are some of your overall health goals? Because you really want to target that. And so if they haven't told you, if you don't have like a really good size list of around 10-ish things with health goals already, then you want to ask this question. So what are some of your overall health goals? So you just get an idea of what is important to them. Great, what else? So they might tell you, "Well, sleep is really important to me." Okay, great. And you write that down. Great, what else? And you go through that a few times until you feel like they don't really have any other health goals that are on their mind. So you might say, "Okay, is there anything else?" And they're like, "No, I think that's it." And then if you feel that you have a pretty good comprehensive list of things that are important to them, and that you have a sufficient list that you can be tying to those top products that doTERRA has, then you'll go ahead with asking them, "So why are these goals important to you?" So somebody might have said, "Well, sleep is really important to me." You're like, well, why is that so important to you? And if it were me, I'd be saying, "Well, because when my daughter doesn't get a lot of sleep, then I'm up, and then I'm cranky, and then I'm feeling like not a very good mom, and there's just not a happy feeling in our home, and I don't really like that." And so then you'll ask the next question, "So why is now a good time to solve that or solve those problems?" And for me, I'd be saying, "Well, my kids are young, and I want them to remember like a happy time in our home when they were growing up, instead of that mom was cranky and ornery all the time because of lack of sleep." They don't really get that. And so I want to solve that now, so that we'll be having that experience as my kids are growing older. And you're just kind of getting a little more information about how these problems or concerns are impacting them. And you don't have to go into a lot of them. You might have sensed that something was a little bit more important than something else to them. And so you might go through a couple of those. So why is that goal so important to you? And why is now a good time to solve that? And when they say those things out loud, it's probably things that they've been thinking, but not really ever expressing to anyone. And so it's a great opportunity for them to unload. But then also it cements for them that this really is a problem and that I do want to solve it now. And so they're going to be paying much more attention to the things that you're saying as you're coming up with solutions that could help them solve that problem. So you ask those things and then you're like, great, got it. So what do you already know about doTERRA? And that's your transition into the next part where you're going to be talking about doTERRA. So let's just go, I'm going to just read that one more time to you. And then there's a couple of tips if you have someone that doesn't come up with too many things to say. So you'll be asking them, so what things do you want to make sure that you go over today? Great. I'll make sure we go over all those things. What are some of your overall health goals? And they're going to tell you their different health goals. You might have a conversation back and forth. Great. What else? Great. What else? Great. Is there anything else? No. Okay. So why are these goals so important to you? Let them tell you. Why is now a good time to solve them? Let them tell you. I got it. So what do you already know about doTERRA? Super, super simple, but really one of the most important parts of the conversation that you're having. Now, let's just say, for instance, that they don't come up with many things like, well, I'm overall healthy. I don't know. I sleep well. And I just really can't think of anything. So you might, if they have a family, then you might ask them this, well, what about your family? And so now they're kind of expanding their thoughts into, okay, if I have a spouse, if I have children, if I have parents that I'm taking care of. So it'll expand it and it might bring some things up for them that are a concern. And then if you still need some more help and kind of priming the pump with things that the essential oils could be helpful for, because there's a lot of people that just don't understand like all their uses. That's why you're teaching them, that you can let them know, well, a lot of people like to use essential oils for, and you can go ahead and list the ones that maybe they haven't brought up. So they use them for sleep. And you can just mention, just stop me if any of these come up for you. Sleep, respiratory support, muscle or joint pain. And then they'll start saying, oh yeah, that's right. My son, he really deals with that. He's got asthma, has a hard time breathing. He's talking about headaches. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. I periodically will get headaches. And so now you can be writing down these other things and just asking, so do any of these things come up for you? And then go through that same process of asking, how is this impacting you, or why is it so important to solve this, and why is now a good time? And you just go through that conversation. The first few times you go through it, for real, it might be a little unnerving. That's okay. But really, it's just asking some good questions. You'll have your notes right there that you can refer to, and you're jotting those things down. For me, this is the funnest part, is finding out how I can best serve them and help them with their goals and needs. So the get it done for this one is to just practice this script a couple of times so you get a little familiar with those questions.